All right, guys, you can see things change. This is going to be a quick video. Well, in my mind, it's going to be quick. We're going to take this knife apart because I want to clean out the bearings and stuff before I get into the full-on carry. I did a few days of carry of this, and I just want to get this all cleaned up and everything just to give it the best chance. Plus, I'm curious. I think there are some Easter eggs in there. So hang out for a second. We're going to start taking this apart. This angle is going to allow me much better viewing to actually do this. So I want to take this apart for a couple reasons. One, there's some hidden Easter eggs in here. And two, I just want to clean it up a little bit. So we're going to take a look at how it's assembled inside. Now, I am not going to change out the bearings for washers at this point. We may do that later. So on this, you're going to need a T6 and a T8. Now, I do not know if Alex used a keyed pivot. I would assume Alex being Alex, he probably did. But just in case, if you do not have a keyed pivot and your pivot tries to spin, it's always good to have a second driver that you can hold. I want to get one of those things that has the driver bit in the middle and you hold it in your finger, but I don't have that. So what we're going to do is we're going to use these two bits, or these drivers. So first things first, we're going to take the pivot, or at least break the pivot loose, and that will tell us. So it's not keyed, but it definitely came loose easy enough that I don't need that second bit driver. This is one of my favorite bit drivers. We're going to take this body screw out here from the back spacer. It's just a single screw. And we're going to put these in this pocket right here. We'll go ahead and we'll get that pivot the rest of the way out. I think I can just get it out the rest of the way with my fingers and that bit driver. So you can see Alex has obviously put some blue Loctite on this. All transparency, Alex Steingraber, are these titanium screws? Yes, they are. There's magnets on this. I just wanted to test and see. So Alex Steingraber sent this to me for testing. This is a pass-around knife. I do recommend having a pry bar when you do a lot of this, because sometimes you can just pop one of these knives if they're tight tolerances like Alex's is, and you just kind of just pop them loose. There we go. So there's an extra tool on the list of things you may require. So as we break this loose, you can see there is a positioning pin here on top of the screw. So we'll just pop that loose, and the stop pin is still retained in there. So you can see Alex has got the American flag in here, US made, SPK knives. Let's see what's on this one. There is a logo of some sorts, not sure. And then we can see the bearings that he has. Now I'm going to get this cleaned up real quick. So the other nice thing about this is I can just put some alcohol in this and just soak these. So give me just a second. We're going to do that. I've got my alcohol here now. I wanted to look at this so you guys can see these are very nicely done ceramic bearings. I don't know if Alex purchases these or if he makes them. I will have that information by the time we get around to doing the full review. So I'm just going to spray a bunch of alcohol in here, and then just allow those to sit in it, and then I will wipe them down. And I'm going to go ahead and look at everything else in this knife. Now, it's not dirty. It doesn't really need cleaned up. I just wanted to give it every best opportunity because I love this knife. Alex was kind enough to send this along. Alex has done some amazing work on this. He is one of the premier knife makers in the US, in my opinion. His fixed blades are amazing. His folder is amazing. All of his knives are absolute scalpels. The blade on this is beautifully done. I cannot complain about anything on this. You can see the bearings have cut a little bit of a track in this, but he did a really good job on the finish of this. And there is your lock face. So that's what the blade looks like out of the knife. And like I said, internal milling every bit as good as the external. That's a sign of somebody that puts a lot of stock in the quality of what they're doing. When the milling inside is great. And I love the fact he put the flag in it. That is awesome. So lock bar insert is also the over travel stop. You can see that. And there is your detent ball. It is one of those white ceramic. I can't remember what ones they call them. There's a zirconium ceramic of some sorts. Awesome, awesome, awesome knife. So I'm going to grab a quick Q-tip, clean up some of these little pocketed areas with some alcohol while these sit here, and grab a rag and clean these up. Cell phone repair swabs are pretty awesome for this because you don't have to get like an actual Q-tip and you get down in here. You can just remove any lubricant off those washers. Those are hardened steel washers to allow a spot for your bearings to run on. A lot of guys do it. You don't necessarily have to. Titanium will work harden and cut a track in, and as long as you don't tighten the knife down too far, and as long as you've got pocketed spaces that are going to set your distance, you don't really have to worry about it. but I will say it gives it a smoother travel. So let's go ahead and grab that rag, wipe these bearings off a little bit. This knife was very, very clean when it came to me. I just wanted to make sure that I gave it the lubricant I wanted and gave it every chance to perform its best. So let's go ahead and I'm gonna go let those dry off a little bit, and I'm gonna go grab my lubricant. I wanted to point something out before we start the assembly, now that I've let everything dry. I had been gone long enough that actually dried up all that alcohol. I love the fact that the pins are retained in here. There's much less chance you're going to lose your pins if they're in there that tight. I mean, they are in there. I can't even make them come out, and I wouldn't force them out. So that's nice because you don't have to worry about something falling out and then you got to pick it up because it bounced all over the floor. As far as lubricants, my preferred lubricant is KPL. I use KPL on all my knives. I find it does a better job. Some people are like, oh, it's snake oil, it's just a lubricant. I find it to be better than anything else on the market. It's the only thing I use on my knives, except I even use the KPL knife shield on knives that may rust, maybe in tool steel or typically crew wear, but the crew wear on this is not even starting to patina. So let's go ahead and get this put back together. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna drop in my lock side bearing, and I'm just going to put one drop. This is the thing, guys. Like a lot of knives that come in have way too much lubrication on them. You need one drop on the bearing itself, and then walk it up on the pivot so that you're lubricating the pivot and the bearing. Drop your blade back in, and then drop on your show scale bearing and do the exact same thing. One drop. Now I don't need to put more on the actual pivot because I did that already. And then one small drop. Oh, I'm gonna have to put this down to do this. One small drop of KPL heavy is what I prefer to use on the detent ball because it just has a little bit of extra staying. That's all you need right there. That's actually more than I actually need. This bottle is going to last me probably the rest of my life. Then you just drop your lock scale back on, line everything up. Sometimes it helps to get the blade positioned. You want to get, now on something like this that has two pins, you're going to want to start it and work your way into it, get everything lined up, and then you're going to have to kind of play with it to get something that has this tight of tolerances back together. So you're going to want to wiggle that. You're probably going to have to lift this back up a couple times and get things in position the way you want. There you go. And you're going to want to wiggle the front and then the back, and there we go. Got everything back together. It's just a matter of positioning, especially something that is this tight, like Alex's knife. Like even without the pivot screw in, there is very, very little blade play. There's very, very little blade play, even without the exterior screw. So that should tell you how tight the tolerance is on this. So I'm gonna kick that back over so that I'm not pushing up on that. Drop my body screw in. Now, when you assemble a knife, it's always good to just barely touch them down and then put in your, oops, sorry about that, guys. You're gonna drop in your pivot screw, and I'm gonna get it start. Well, I'm try not to stick it. Now, I don't need to add more Loctite. I looked at it, there's enough Loctite still on that I really don't need to worry about. Now I'm gonna kick, I did it on its own. So now I'm going to tighten my pivot down till it's comfortable. I'm gonna tighten it down till I lose the blade play. You don't want to over tighten. So now, no blade play, free action. Now I'm going to take, since I already have a T8 in this one, I'm just going to tighten this one down the rest of the way. Tighten down a body screw. You're going to look and make sure everything's centered. And it is. And now, wow, that's so... Fresh lubricant on a knife can make a night and day difference. That is, it was good before, it's even better now. So as that lubricant starts to work its way around through the knife, it's going to get even better. I can just feel it as I play with it. So fresh lubricant on a knife is always going to give you the best experience. If you're a reviewer, if you get a knife in and you're not 100% sure on it, and you get something and somebody sends you something, you're like, man, this knife is just all gritty and nasty. Sometimes just throwing some fresh lubricant in it will completely night and day change that, especially if you're using the right lubricant. And then the final step, as I would do with any knife in crew wear, I'm going to spray a little bit of KPL blade shield on it. And you let that stuff sit for about 10 seconds. I can clean that up later. You let it sit for about 7 seconds, maybe wipe it around, make sure you're getting full coverage. And it's got a wax rust preventative in it that absolutely does a very good job. And we're going to wipe that off. This is not a commercial for KPL. I don't even have an affiliate link with them, but I absolutely do recommend you go over and check out Ryan's line of products. It is amazing. And there we go. The LAMIA disassemble and reassemble. That was a lot of fun. This, oh my, it's literally night and day. It was already really good. Now it's just amazing. So there you go. A little quick what's inside on this knife. I'm not going to do a bunch of stuff. You guys know how to support the channel. I've got a channel sponsor of Coffee Brand Coffee and Tempered Trail. I'm going to try and get their sticker and put it up on this side here. Big shout out to the guys that made these things possible. This was a gift on this table. If you want to join the membership, it's tier-based. Pick the tier that gets you what you want, but everyone gets early access to videos. Everyone gets exclusive content and access to the Gilded server. And then Baseline and Premium guys get entered into giveaways that I do automatically for them. It's automatic. They don't even have to do anything. And the Premium guys have access to my sharpening tutorial series. And I have an Amazon store down below. So guys, that's it. I will see you in the next video. Alex, awesome, awesome knife. See you guys later.